Hey, Honors Bio. Happy Wednesday. We'll do a brain teaser tomorrow. Um, Hope the quiz went okay. And so grab your notes and let's do a quick review of our crazy overview diagram. Not as crazy as the light-dependent reactions, but remember that we start with sunlight coming in and exciting electrons in chlorophyll. We take water from the soil, split it up to furnish electrons and protons and give off oxygen. The light-dependent reactions use that stuff to make ATP and NADPH. Remember, ATP is the thing where its power is in the third phosphate that wants to pop off of there. NADPH is the high-energy electron babysitter, and they both get used to power the light-independent reactions to take CO2, pull it apart like Legos, rearrange it and stick it together and make glucose, which is the whole point of the thing. The ATP and the NADPH get recycled into NADP plus, NADP plus P. Okay, so let's run through the light-dependent reactions again. We ran through them once yesterday. At this point, I want you kind of really digging into what happens in these places, writing down questions if you have them for me tomorrow. So where we are right now is, if you look back, we're in one of these little thylakoids, one of these coin-shaped membranes. And this membrane has, to orient you, this is the inside of the coin, and this is the outside, basically the stroma, right? And so we start with light again. Light comes in and excites our little electron, okay? And that electron jumps into this part right here, which is called the electron transport chain in the membrane. We'll come back to it. Meanwhile, water is being taken in from the soil and split into a bunch of parts. First of all, 2 electrons that are there to refurnish chlorophyll with the electrons it's lost. Also oxygen. It's going to take 2 water molecules to make an O2 molecule, but that's the gas form of oxygen. And so that gets given off into the atmosphere. And then we have our 2 protons, which are just going to join all the protons that are about to start building up inside the thylakoid. Hopefully you're okay so far. That's the stuff that happens in photosystem 2. Okay, that's one place where chlorophyll is found. You don't have to waste brain space on P680 and P700, but knowing that photosystem 2 comes first would be good. Okay, so now we have this high energy electron that basically gets pulled along this chain. Because it's so high energy, every step it goes along this chain, a little bit of the energy is used to move protons inside the thylakoid space. Okay, and so those protons keep building up because the sun keeps shining on the chlorophyll. They keep building up inside the thylakoid until there's a whole bunch of them. And that gradient, we call it, which just means a difference between one side of a membrane and another, a gradient, the difference, is going to be used to make ATP here in a minute. Meantime, our electron is exhausted. It's post-sugar crash little brother. It's now, conveniently though, in photosystem 1, where it's associated with chlorophyll again. So the light re-excites the electron via chlorophyll. The electron gets re-excited. The electron gets passed to another protein, which then drops it off at the ultimate babysitter, right? NADP plus is there to grab the high energy electron. It then becomes NADPH, and we've got our first high energy molecule. Okay, NADPH is going to go straight to the light independent reactions and help power them. Next, the buildup of protons has only one way to be alleviated. That's this guy right here, this little weird water wheel, little molecular machine called ATP synthase is the only way those protons can get out. And when they get out, they spin the wheel. ATP synthase is powered by escaping protons. And the work that they do is smushing ADP and P together to make ATP. And now we've got our second high energy molecule, and that's kind of the power, and NADPH and the ATP are the power that gets provided to the light independent reactions, if that makes sense. Any questions you've got at this point? First of all, rewind, watch it again if you need to. But save them for tomorrow as well. If you've got questions, please ask them. I'm going to go ahead and attempt to play this.
Concentration gradients are a key component of the biological world. The potential energy from these gradients is often used to perform biological work. Here we will focus on hydrogen ion concentration gradients. Hydrogen ions are also known as protons. A gradient exists when there is a higher concentration of a molecule in one compartment compared to a neighboring compartment. This animation will demonstrate how the potential energy that results from hydrogen ion gradient uses ADP and inorganic phosphate, also known as PI, to synthesize ATP. This process involves an enzyme complex called ATP synthase. Gradients and the potential energy they create are key aspects of the biological world. A good example of the use of a gradient occurs in the mitochondria when ATP is synthesized. ATP is synthesized by ATP synthase, a large complex of membrane-bound proteins. Here we see ATP synthase, along with other membrane-bound proteins. Notice the large difference
So I told you
in the
that
number of hydrogen ions on
electron
the two
transport is
sides of the
in your
membrane.
mitochondria as well as
This
the
difference
chloroplast.
is a hydrogen ion, or proton, concentration gradient. The energy associated with this gradient is used to synthesize ATP from ADP and PI. This occurs at the ATP synthase complex. One hydrogen ion enters the ATP synthase complex from the intermembrane space, and a second hydrogen ion
So
leaves
much
it
like a
in the
water wheel,
matrix
right? Like it's
space.
the same freaking
The
thing.
upper part of the ATP synthase complex rotates when a new hydrogen ion enters. Once 3 protons have entered the matrix space, there is enough energy in the ATP synthase complex to synthesize 1 ATP. In this way, the energy in the hydrogen ion gradient is used to make ATP. Now let's watch the process again.
Okay, that's probably good. Point being that it's a cool little machine. You don't have to know all the details from that video, but that's the basics. That's what it looks like. Okay, so your homework is, beyond having done the quiz, and if I made this into a Quizlet, having answered those questions, you are going to get a sheet of actual flashcards from the teacher, and your job is to not write the answers to those things on the front of the flashcards on the front, but on the back. Okay, you write the answers, and you only have one set of reactions to do right now, and that is the light dependent reactions. You write the reactants and the products, where they are sent and where they come from. Write that on the back of the cards, not the front. Okay, they're not flashcards if you have the questions and the answers both on the front. Write the answers on the back. Okay, that is all. Hope you have a good day. I will see you tomorrow.